Folks, thanks for coming on with us today. My name is John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 5 minutes to an hour discussing the programs that are available to you through one of the largest insurance carriers in the country, and that's Cigna Healthcare. And we're going to be discussing the extra difference that they have in the offerings within the Medicare Supplement and ancillary arena. Keep in mind that this program is being recorded, and it, along with the material, much of the material we referenced throughout the course of the presentation, will be sent to all by email, including a link to the presentation and the presentation itself. If you'll notice in the software, there is a section that says questions. If you would, please enter your questions in that particular category. And while we normally are able to answer all of the questions through the course of the presentation, that doesn't always occur. So let's make certain that we do handle the presentation properly. We'll address them at the end as well, just to make certain we cover all our bases. A bit of background about our organization, if you're not as familiar with Premier Marketing as some are. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. We're part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler, providing insurance services through independent insurance agents. And we do so through contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, being founded in 1968, we recently experienced a milestone in our history, and that's the 50th anniversary. And we feel that's quite an accomplishment for what began as a small family agency in rural Nebraska that's grown into one of the largest marketing organizations in the insurance world. And that's all due to our relationship with agents such as yourself, and we thank you for that business. We do so through a full insurance portfolio that includes a gambit of the Medicare programs that include the Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement health plans, and standalone Part D prescription drug programs. But we also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans. We also offer long and short-term care programs, disability income plans, and ancillary benefits that include dental, vision, and hearing programs, critical illness and cancer plans, and hospital indemnity programs. That portfolio of Medicare Advantage programs include all the national carriers and many of the strong regional carriers that can make a difference to you in your market. That same philosophy, it carries over into the standalone Part D drug programs, where those national carriers are available to you through our organization. When you look at the Medicare Supplement portfolio that we offer, it's very large and robust, and we have specific support programs in place that help you be successful in this space as well. When we discuss ancillary products, supplemental programs that give additional benefits to your prospects and clients outside of the base medical coverage, you'll see in each of the categories the national leaders are there, and it includes our partners that speak to us today in the presentation with Cigna. When we look at the Medicare market overall, you don't come on a program like this without hearing about the silver tsunami, 10,000 people plus a month turning 65, one every 10 seconds, and how great an opportunity that is. And that's absolutely true, but it's not the entire picture of the Medicare space, because there are a percentage of people who continue after the age of 65 with perhaps working or other reasons why they may not access their Medicare benefits immediately upon turning 65. So that's going to take that number and step it back a little bit when we look at aging. However, that's more than compensated or offset, I should say, by the folks that are actually accessing their Medicare benefits under the age of 65 because of medical disability. So we have a huge market. Almost 60 million people in the country are on a Medicare program and are viable prospects for the products that we offer. And that's a necessity that we have of having a variety of programs to address different needs of our prospects and clients, because it's a varied population. About 2/3 of it is, well, they have 3+ chronic conditions, and many of them have some challenges with their budget as well, where their income is, well, a couple years later after this one, shows $26,200 as the median income. What that tells us is we need to help our folks put in place different programs to address the inevitable, the challenges to our health, and having a portfolio of products to address that is key to our success, and also helps us in many different ways of addressing the needs of those we serve. Because if you look at Medicare, it's a pile of choices. The first choice is, an old sales manager of mine used to tell me, the decision to make a decision is a decision. And that's absolutely true. They don't have to do anything. Part B is optional even. They don't have to take that if they don't want to. Most folks do. But then they are faced with the decision of, how do I handle the shortfall in my coverages, and what choices do I need to make in order to make certain that I am covered? Many folks will take the Part D program and tack it on to the base medical coverage, and they feel they're all happy and good, and that may well work in their circumstances. However, a number of folks will actually take out a standardized, modernized Medicare Supplement program and address the shortfalls in the medical coverage that way, adding it to the Part B program to handle the drug costs. And other folks will actually enroll in a Part C program, a Medicare Advantage program, to bundle their coverages together and address shortfalls in that fashion. In each of these selections that are available to people, do nothing, add just Part D, add a Med Sup, or go into the Medicare Advantage programs, there are shortfalls in each of those choices that need to be addressed by ancillary programs, and we can deliver for our prospects and clients in that regard. Because if you think about it, some of the information we have coming to us from different sources, this is citing depth research, it tells us that the people that are coming on to Medicare, and that includes not only the age-ins, but the folks that are coming on later, well, they're enrolling in Medicare and Med Sup programs almost equally. And then there's a percentage that appear to be doing nothing at all. That, however, is a bit of a misnomer, because that may well be people that are covered by VA benefits, retiree benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it happens to be in those circumstances. And once again, in each of these categories, they have a need for the programs that we offer because of shortfalls in the different coverage, regardless of the choice that they make. And to make the situation even more interesting, Medicare has its own language. So part of what we're going to do as a follow-up to today's presentation as well is get you a link to these acronym guides, basically. So it'll help you speak intelligently to the different abbreviations that we see, because every now and then someone will ask, what does that mean? And we find ourselves sometimes being in the business using these acronyms and not thoroughly communicating. So we want to make certain that we present in a fashion that gives us the opportunity for the people we're speaking with to understand what we're saying, and we understand how those benefits can be properly explained by having this information available. So what we're going to do today for the bulk of our presentation is ask our guest speaker to come on and give us some details as to Cigna's portfolio in this area, and give us then the opportunity to see how Cigna can help us address the programs and then the needs that are satisfied by the programs that we have with Cigna Healthcare. So we have Jim Codney on the line with us today. He's the Regional Vice President in U.S. Individual Sales with Cigna. And Jim is going to run through some different things for us to help us better understand how Cigna can help us address the challenges that our prospects and clients have and what we have in addressing those particular needs. So I'm going to turn the presentation over to Jim. and ask him to basically, hey, Jim, enlighten us. Jim?
Hey, John. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to our presentation today. As John said, we're going to go through sort of the gap fillers, regardless of what coverage your clients have. There are absolutely some gaps, and we'll talk specifically about a couple products from Cigna that we believe are a good opportunity to fill some of those gaps. And I don't believe in wasting time, so I'm going to go ahead and get going. Just to give you guys an idea of the portfolio of products we offer here at Cigna, we offer a Medicare Supplement, as you probably know, our cancer, heart attack, and stroke, which we'll talk about today, and our hospital indemnity, which we'll talk briefly about today. But we also offer a few other products, a cancer treatment, so it's a cancer indemnity type of product, an accident indemnity product, as well as an individual whole life. So a relatively good suite of products to help you with your clients. You may have seen we're launching several new Med Supp states this year. We're about to launch South Carolina on our new charter, Cigna National, here in just a few days. So a lot of stuff going on that's exciting for us and as we look towards the future. But when we talk about gap fillers, the two products we're going to talk about today, I really believe are undersold and under-discussed in our market, and I think it's unfortunate. You know, as we talk about our cancer, heart attack, and stroke product, you know, there are a few stats that I think are really important. For instance, 1 in 4 men, 40% of men and 30% of women are going to get statistically cancer in their lifetime. That should alone tell you how big the market is out there for a product like this, especially if you haven't been selling it before. You might say, hey, why would I offer that? Well, if 40% of the people you meet roughly will get cancer, why wouldn't you want to service your clients and talk to them about a product that they can add to their insurance portfolio and protect themselves and their family from possible financial peril that can come from this? And then on the heart attack and stroke side, there's about 8 million Americans living right now who have already suffered a heart attack. But stroke is also the leading cause of disability right now, with about 92 million Americans living with the after effects of stroke. I know personally a couple of people who have had strokes a couple years ago that still have those lingering effects. Typically, it's loss of use of the left arm, slurred speech, and some other issues that can arise from that. But probably the thing that jumps off the page to me when I read about this is that top middle bullet. In the U.S., the average person can't afford $500 of unexpected costs. Well, guys, if they can't afford $500, how are they going to afford what they're going to have to pay if, God forbid, them or somebody they love gets diagnosed with internal cancer or has a heart attack, a stroke, or needs a heart transplant? Because I can guarantee you this, it's going to cost them a lot more than $500. And that's where in our profession, we're fortunate enough to be able to go in and talk to our clients and help, again, shield them and their families from what could be financial peril with the outcome of either a horrible disease or a bad health issue like coronary issue. So let's talk about the product in a nutshell. This product is a lump sum benefit. So what that means is your client's going to choose a dollar amount for cancer and then a dollar amount for heart attack and stroke insurance if they buy them both. And if they have a triggering event and make a claim, we're going to cut them a check for that amount. So it can be anywhere from $5,000 up to $75,000 in lump sum benefit. Now, in most states where the product's available 18 to 99. The state that jumps off the page that is an outlier is California. In California, it's currently only available 18 to 64. We have some great riders which we'll go through. But one of the things I really like about this product is our underwriting. It's simple. We do not ask, even on cancer, we don't ask about tobacco use. We don't ask about family history. It's a 5-year simplified issue look back for underwriting. So it's a really nice, clean product. And with the riders that we'll talk about, I believe it's the most comprehensive cancer, heart attack, and stroke product on the market today. So let's talk about how it works. Your client can purchase this one of 3 ways. They can buy standalone cancer insurance, they can buy standalone heart attack and stroke insurance, or they can buy cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Now, if they do that, it's really important to know that they're separate buckets of money. The benefit for cancer does not impact the benefit for heart attack and stroke. So they could be the same, or those could be different benefits altogether. And if you sell it like that, you're going to sell one of those as the base policy and the other as a rider. And it doesn't matter for underwriting or cost which you do. Typically, most people put cancer as the base and a heart attack and stroke as the rider. But for all intents and purposes, it does not matter. It will not negatively impact the client either way. So cancer insurance, how does ours work? You know, the good news is it's simple. There are still carriers out there that exclude some things with cancer. For instance, carcinoma in situ, there's still carriers that only cover that at 25% of the benefit. So what carcinoma in situ is localized cancer. With Cigna, all you do is you go in and you sit down with your client, or you're talking to them over the phone. Yeah, I know with what's going on, that's where most of our business today is being done. And you tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the great thing about Cigna's cancer insurance is it doesn't matter. As long as your diagnosis is internal cancer, meaning we don't cover topical skin cancer, but we do cover skin cancer if it ever goes invasive internal. So any internal cancer diagnosis, call me. I'll help you fill out the claims form. Cigna's going to cut you a check for whatever your benefit is, period. It's super, super easy. And then on the heart attack and stroke, it's a little different. So let me take a minute and go through that. Heart attack and the need of a heart transplant are covered exactly that way. 100% lump sum as soon as it happens. With a stroke, there does have to be lingering effects for at least 30 days for that to trigger a benefit. So it's really important to note as you're talking to your clients, on the stroke benefit, they have to have lingering effects from that for at least 30 days. That is a requirement that's pretty typical in the market on stroke coverage. There are some carriers that require longer than that, but 30 days is pretty typical. Now, we do offer some acceleration of some of those benefits as well for things like coronary artery bypass surgery, aortic surgery, heart valve repair and replacement. We'll actually accelerate 25% of the benefit. So let's say for easy math, you sell your client a $10,000 policy. They go and see their cardiologist and they need aortic surgery. Well, they can actually fill out a claim and get a $2,500 check just because of that. And what we're going to reserve out of that $10,000 benefit is the other $7,500 for if they have a heart attack, need a heart transplant, or that stroke with lingering effects for at least 30 days. We'll even accelerate up to 10% for angioplasties or stents. Now, it is important to note we'll only accelerate once in your client's lifetime, but I think that's a great benefit that we do because what those procedures are for is to help your client avoid those big 3, right? Help them avoid a heart attack or need of a heart transplant or a stroke. So a really nice benefit that we offer. Now, here's a couple of the riders that we've had for a long, long time that we sell with a huge percentage of our business. The reoccurrence and restoration benefits. Don't let the names confuse you. They work exactly the same. Reoccurrence is just what we call it on cancer. And restoration is what we call it on heart attack and stroke. So as you see on your screen, if your client has a qualifying event, let's say they, God forbid, they get diagnosed with cancer, internal cancer, Cigna cuts them a check for their whole benefit. Well, if they have the recurrence benefit, once they're 2 years past treatment and diagnosis, they've built up another 25% of their benefit again. At 5 years, 75%, and at 10 years, it's 100% of the benefit. So what's great about that is instead of the lump sum policy being a one and done policy, it could actually cover them twice, and they're still paying the same premium from when they bought the policy. Another reason why this is important is because statistically, if somebody's been diagnosed with cancer before or had cardiovascular issues before, they're more likely to have those again in their lifetime. And as we're speaking about seniors, and I know that's a big part of our business, seniors are more likely to be on a fixed income. So they would pay the amount that they were paying from when they originally purchased the policy, not they exercised their benefit, had to wait the waiting period and then start over. Sometimes that 5 to 7 to 10 year waiting period could make it where our clients couldn't afford coverage in the first place. So really good reasons why to sell that. And then on top of that, the reoccurrence rider, for example, for a $5,000 benefit on cancer for a client, only cost about $2.60 a month. So here's some of our other riders: a hospital indemnity rider available, an ICU rider available, a combination of those two, hospital indemnity and ICU rider, and then return of premium. Return of premium is a great rider for those people who their only hesitation is, what if I never? You know, if it's what if I never get cancer, Cigna is going to take all my money and we're left out to dry. Well, if that's really their objection, sell them the return of premium rider, because the way ours works is at death, if they'd paid more in premium than we paid out in claims, and yes, we could have paid a claim, if they've paid more in premium than we paid them, we'll refund every penny of the difference to the beneficiary. So they cannot lose. Worst case scenario, it's a glorified savings account for somebody they love and care about, right? Best case scenario, they have a horrible issue. They get diagnosed with cancer. They have a heart attack or something, and there we are to help them and their family through what could be a challenging financial time, so they can think about, how am I going to beat this horrible disease, not how am I going to pay for it, or what's it going to do financially to my family. We've also added in many states these 4 new riders: benefit builder, radiation and chemo, specified disease, and accident indemnity. So I'm going to talk about these a little more in detail because they're newer on the policy. Benefit builder, I believe we're the only cancer policy on the market today that has anything like this. What I liken it to is an inflation protection rider. Your client can add growth every year of either $500 or $1,000, and that will grow until they either make a claim or 35 years has gone by. So as you see by the explanation or the diagram on your screen, you sell your client today a $20,000 policy. If they've chosen the $1,000 growth, in 10 years, that $20,000 lump sum policy is now worth $30,000. In 20 years, it's worth $40,000, etc. So as you can imagine, not only are your clients growing in benefit, which is great, right? Because the conversation is, hey, Mr. Jones, would you agree that if you got diagnosed with a horrible disease like cancer today, it's going to cost you more out of pocket than it would have 10 or 15 years ago? And the clients are almost for sure going to say yes, right? Because everything costs more today than it did 10, 15, 20 years ago. So when they say, yeah, of course, then is it reasonable to assume that if you get diagnosed with cancer 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, it's going to cost you more out of pocket than it does today? And when they say yes, that's a great opportunity to talk to them about Benefit Builder. Now, on a radiation and chemo benefit, I really want you to think about this, especially if you have Medicare Advantage clients because of their co-insurance requirements for MA on radiation and chemo benefits. But even on your Med Supp clients, if you look now, we have 3 levels of coverage. Prime is the basic coverage. Advantage is sort of the middle, and Supreme's the top. I'm not going to read all these. I know you guys can read, but I do want to point out, even for a Medicare Advantage client or Med Supp client, Medicare does not cover experimental treatment, period. They don't cover it. Well, if you sell them a radiation and chemo benefit rider on flexible choice, we'll cover up to 30 days of an NCI-approved experimental treatment. So it may give your client the option of trying what a doctor thinks might be a better way for them to get treatment than if they didn't have this, on top of all the other coverage as you see here. Now, on our specified disease rider, I really, really like this rider. It's a lump sum rider, so it's benefits anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, and it covers everything you see on your screen: ALS, which is commonly referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, comas, end-stage renal, which we're unfortunately seeing diagnosed more and more, MS, paralysis, loss of sight, hearing, speech, etc., all at a lump sum. We do cover Alzheimer's dementia diagnosis, but I do need to point out that that's covered at 50% of the benefit. Our choice was because of how commonly that's diagnosed nowadays, whether to include it at 50% of the benefit or have 0 benefit for Alzheimer's dementia. And we all voted, hey, some is better than none, because unfortunately Alzheimer's dementia is pretty prevalent out there. But just to give you an idea of costs, at 65 years old, a $5,000 specified disease critical illness rider only costs about $1.62 a month for your client. So really affordable, extra coverage to help your clients if they have any of these horrible issues happen. And then the last rider we're going to talk about on this is our accident fixed indemnity rider. As you see, again, 3 different levels of coverage they can choose. So the way this works, let's say you're working with a senior. If they have a covered accident and have something, let's say they fall and fracture their hip, well, even if they have the prime coverage or the prime level of coverage, that's $750 worth of benefit that they'll be able to get. If they have to go to the hospital, ER or urgent care, that's $75 a benefit for a covered accident. So really good coverage. Seniors are active more now than ever, but when they're active, that means sometimes they have accidents. And guess what? The ones that are not active also have accidents. Slips and falls are the #1 cause of ER visits in the U.S. today. So great option to offer to your clients. And then here's where flexible choice, cancer, heart attack, and stroke is offered today. So the dark blue states, that's where all the riders and everything are available as we're talking. California and Indiana and Vermont, we expect to come in the near future. If you live and or sell in the orange states, those will be in a later rollout as we can get DOI approvals. So it is coming. We're really excited. Our flexible choice cancer, heart attack, and stroke product is far and away our #1 sold supplemental health product. So we really, really, really like it. So now I'm going to switch gears and just take a couple minutes of your time and talk about hospital indemnity. We love our hospital indemnity product, and our agents have really gravitated to it because of how simple it is, especially in times like this where often the sale isn't sitting across a desk or a kitchen table. It's over the phone. Simplicity is really, really important so your clients can make an educated decision on their insurance needs. So ours works, pretty simple. It's 50 to 85. We'll go through some of the benefits here in a minute. But what I like about ours with simplicity is there's 3 prepackaged options. Now in Plan 1 and Plan 2, your clients literally only have 2 choices that they have to make. How many days do they want coverage for hospital indemnity? Do they want 6 or 10 days? And once they choose that, then all they have to decide is, what do you want your daily confinement benefit to be? They can choose anywhere from $100 a day up to $450 a day in $25 increments. Very easy, especially over the phone, to talk to your clients about. There's not a lot of moving parts. Now, as you see, Plan 1 covers just hospital confinement. Plan 2 covers that plus observation room and skilled nursing. Now, if they want Plan 3, they get everything in Plan 1 and Plan 2 plus ambulance and ER, and we make them make one more choice. What do you want your hospital admission benefit to be? $250, $500, or $750? It's that easy. And I will tell you, these are primarily sold, if you aren't in this market today, to Medicare Advantage clients. And when we started this, we sort of were guessing, hey, what's going to be our most popular plan? And I really, honestly, guys, I thought Plan 1 was going to be. It gives them some coverage. It's the least expensive plan. Believe it or not, Plan 3 far and away is our most sold and purchased plan. Followed about 10-15% behind is Plan 1. So it was surprising to me to see how Plan 3, our most robust and expensive plan, is our number one plan. Now, we do offer these riders. I won't go through these in major detail because they're very similar to what we've already talked about with our Flex Choice. So the lump sum cancer with reoccurrence is pretty much exactly the same as our lump sum cancer on Flexible Choice, but it already includes the reoccurrence benefit in the rider. Likewise, the heart attack and stroke benefit, same thing, already includes the restoration rider. Those are both lump sums. Specified disease, there are a couple differences in what's covered, but it's very similar to the specified disease rider we've already talked about, lump sum rider, and then that accident indemnity rider. So again, good ways to go about doing this and packaging for your client with that. Now with our hospital indemnity, as you see on your screen now, this is where it's available. So in most of the country, we're working on approvals in some of those states that are gray now, but for the majority of you and where you sell, it's currently available. Now, I do want to talk about, especially with, unfortunately the pandemic and stuff, we've actually seen phone sales become even a bigger part of business, even though Cigna's embraced phone sales for many, many years. Every product that we sell here at Cigna Supplemental Benefits is phone sales approved and capable. So regardless, pandemic, no pandemic, where you live, whether it's shut down or you're able to see your clients, all of our products can be sold over the phone. And to give you an idea of our Express app, I'm a true believer. I've been an agent out in the field writing. I believe that if what we have is good, our agents will use it. If it's not good, it's not going to be utilized. We're getting over 80% of our business on our e-app, and it's not just since the pandemic started. We've been getting that for over a year and a half. Now, there's peaks and valleys, but it's a very high percentage of our business coming in on our e-app, which tells me that our agents agree it's one of, if not the best e-app in the market. So I'm going to take just a minute and go through, if you haven't done it, what it looks like and what the process is. Now, worst case scenario, if you're doing an e-app with us, there's 3 steps. You call your customer and go through the app. That makes sense. You may have to do a phone verification call. The only time you would need to do one of those is if a lump sum benefit is over $50,000. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, most of you, if you're doing a phone sale on our e-app, selling the supplemental health products we've talked about today, will never have to do a phone verification call on those because it's a very small percentage of business that is over $50,000 in lump sum. And then so typically you're just going to go back and start the application on Agent View, fill it out, submit it, and you're done. So really, Instead of 3 steps, it's only 2. So this is what it'll look like when you go in our agent view and click on Express app. You're going to go in, and on the bottom of your screen are going to be any people you've either started quotes for, done sales for, etc. But if you're starting from scratch, if you look over, it's sort of on the left of your screen under Start a New Quote. You just fill that out and hit Quick Quote Apply, and that's going to take you to this screen. So this screen is where you pick what policies you want to quote. You can actually do an RE app multiple policies at the same time. So let's say you're selling them our Medicare Supplement, but you also are going to sell them our cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Well, all you do is click the green where the box is that's green Medicare Supplement, but you could also click on cancer, lump sum, and heart lump sum, and you're doing multiple policies at the same time without the redundancy of going back and starting from scratch. Also, if you look on the right side of your screen, you can add another applicant, so you can do multiple people at the same time in the same household. It's really, really nice how we do it. This is what it's going to look like when you choose the coverage. So for these, you can choose individual, couple, single parent, or family. If they're a single parent or family, in most states they cover children in the household up to the age of 26. And then on the right side in that circle, you can see what it's going to look like where you're choosing your coverage, your riders, etc. And then as you get done, all you do is pick your effective date, their social, the normal stuff, and then you get a security question and answer and a 4-digit PIN. What's great about this is then you just hit submit, assuming you don't need to do a phone verification call because your lump sums are over $50,000. It's going to come to us. We're going to make sure we have all the info, and we're going to issue it. Typically on these, we issue in 2.2 days. We can't do same day because of Patriot Act stuff with lump sum benefits, but we're very fast to issue. And then at the end of that, you're going to get a confirmation email, but also so are your clients. I love this because it affirms the sale, right? Sometimes with the phone sale, if they don't get anything, they don't really feel like they've committed. So with this, they do get an email thanking them for their business and letting them know that they did purchase a policy with Cigna. We also have Express Quote. Great tool for you to use if you're in the field. It works on smartphones and tablets that have internet access. If you go to CignaEXPQuote.com, what you do from there, or what I do, is I save that link to my home screen, and now it looks like an app, just like an app from the Google Play or Apple Store. And it's saved on my home screen. The great thing about this is 2 things. A, rates are always up to date and accurate on this because it's a direct feed from us at Cigna. And B, it's very, very quick and easy to quote. I can quote somebody for any of our products in less than 30 seconds. So even if I'm at the grocery store and I'm talking to somebody and Medicare Supplement or cancer insurance pops up in conversation, if they want to quote, I can give it to them quickly. So it's a really nice. And then last but not least, agent incentives. So we've got some agent incentives going on right now. Keep in mind these vary by state. I'm going to focus on the supplemental health, but we do have some really good incentives also for Med Sup. But on Sup Health specifically, in any state that allows it, we're doing $25 extra per app. Now to qualify, you've got to sell 5 apps in a month that have a monthly premium of $30 or more. And if you do that, once you hit 5, we're going to be paying you $25 extra an app to do what you would be doing anyways. So it doesn't hurt to make a little extra money. And then finally, we are planning our trip for next year. We're really looking forward to going to Vancouver because unfortunately our trip this year had to be canceled. I won't say a lot about these because hopefully you guys have been on trips except for a few things. A, we do not cap the number of attendees, so you don't have to worry if your agent 51 or 55 or 101. Anybody who has enough qualifying credits and is in good standing, because we do look at quality of business and persistency, but assuming you are, we're going to invite you and a guest on our trip. The other thing I'll say is we do not make you come to a bunch of business meetings. We have a couple dinners, couple excursions, and have a lot of fun. So we don't lock you in a room for 8 hours a day in a beautiful location. This is our opportunity with our top agents to break bread, build relationships and friendships with them. So with that, guys, thank you so much for your time. We're here for you. Premier has been a long-term partner for us, one of our very top of the top partnerships. So I've personally worked with John and the team over there for many years and really appreciate them and everything they do, and appreciate all of you for your time today. So with that, John, I'm done. I'm happy to answer any questions that might come up, or if you have anything else to add.
Well, there's a number of inquiries that popped up for us, Jim, so let's run through those before we tie up the presentation. One of the first ones deals with compensation on Medicare Supplement and ACA plans in Missouri market. Is there anything unique about Missouri that affects compensation?
That's a great question, and I understand the reason for the question. I'm not trying to be cryptic here, but any compensation questions at all, folks, I'd suggest that we take that offline. There's many reasons for that, but primarily because of how we don't know what everybody's compensation level and stuff is. So, John, if you just get that agent's name and contact information, I can get that to you offline and have that information for you really quickly after the webinar is over.
Awesome. We'll tie in the Premier Agent Success Manager as well to make certain that's best for Mr. Lupo. The next question is, are the age ranges similar in each of the states with the product? Does it vary from state to state? This one specifically asks about Colorado, if the ages are the same there, because California was different.
Great question. Yeah. So in Colorado and almost every state, the age ranges are what were displayed on your screen for the presentation. California is an outlier, difficult to get sub-health products over the age of 64. There are some state variations. Typically, what you'll see isn't age. It's in how we have to word a certain thing in the policy or rider forms or application. But in most states, the basic of what we've talked about, age and coverage and what's coverage and how much can be coverage, in the majority of states, including Colorado, it's going to be the same as what we talked about today.
Awesome. The next question is also a commissions question that Richard will address for you as well. And it deals a lot in the ACA arena, and we know that was a fine, sloppy mess in the first part of that program rollout. So Richard will make certain we get you that detail as well. The next question is, if you place one person as a policy owner and add a spouse as a second insured, and then the policy owner dies, will the policy continue in the name of the spouse for their benefit, and will the premium be adjusted?
So that's a good question. The answer is no. So, and just as important as that, if let's say you're doing a couple policy, which this would be, there's only one benefit, even though there's multiple people. Meaning, if we are not going to pay a cancer benefit for both people, it'll be for the first one who makes a claim. So in those situations, what I'd suggest is they look at individual policies for each. Now, I will say there are absolutely situations where couple and family plans or single parent plans are great options. Tight budgets, or if they want kids also covered, that's when I would do policies like that. If it's a couple and they both want their individual coverage, I'd sell them each an individual policy. Now, with that said, on our e-app, when you saw applicant 2 on that screen, you can do applicant 2 and get them, and I'm going back there, but you can actually, with applicant 2, you can write applicant 1 their own individual policy and applicant 2 their individual policy, both still well filling it out at the same time. You don't have to start from scratch. The only thing you have to do with us currently with separate policies is put billing in for each policy. But other than that, you can do it just at the same time. So really nice process for us.
Awesome. The next question deals with a little bit of marketing information. It's asking if we can get these information slides for client use. We're going to provide this for the agent use, the presentation and recording. But I would imagine, Jim, that there are different presentation material with a lot of the same data that an agent would use for the client.
Yeah, there is. So for this presentation, the deck I use today is not approved for client use. It is for licensed agents only. With that said, we do have brochures, etc., that you can use with clients that we can definitely make sure that your marketers at Premier, if you've ever called them, I know they have them, but I'll work with them to make sure that everything's updated, so you can work with your clients. But yeah, it is very important to note that this presentation, while I'm happy to share it with anybody on this call today, it is not to be used for consumers.
Okay. The next question deals with some of the things we're seeing across the board with electronic access, and it asks if the client's email is required to enroll electronically.
We don't require an email, but we definitely suggest it. And the reason we suggest it is because, as you see, once they buy a policy, they get a welcome letter emailed to them. That's a really big piece of affirming that sale that you've made, because unfortunately, until they get something, whether it's that email or a week or so later, a policy in the mail, to a lot of our customers, they haven't really bought anything yet because there's nothing tangible showing that they've agreed to anything. So no, we don't require it. We do not make them do things like some of our competitors do, where when you sell them a policy, then they have to get an email from them and go in and answer a bunch of questions. You do all that while you're on the phone with them, but we do suggest the email so they can get that welcome email.
Awesome. It's also something we suggest to collect now, particularly when we're doing so much business remotely. It's a great way to make certain that you can stay in touch with the client, both with the products and with perhaps an electronic newsletter, something of that, to stay in front of the client. So even though it's not required for this, it's something we would suggest that you collect as well.
Absolutely.
The next question deals with PDP programs and when they're going to be available to agents. That's a separate contract, Michelle. And the first looks for 2021 are out now, and we'll make certain that we get you that information. Cigna Medicare on that side has been non-commissionable on those products in the past. We'll get you the details moving forward as part of the follow-up. And thank you for that question. The next one is what supplements are available in Texas for 2021? Carol is a Texan.
So I assume by supplements you mean supplemental products. Every product that we had available on the first couple of slides, which I'll go back to really quick, is available in the state of Texas. So Medicare Supplement, the two products we talked about today, as well as these three other products, which are our Indemnity Cancer, so not a lump sum, our Accident Indemnity product, and our Individual Whole Life, commonly referred to as Final Expense. So we have all of our full suite of products available in Texas.
Awesome. And Carol gave a follow-up question that it leads us to believe that we're looking more at Medicare supplements in this regard. She's asking if B and N are available through Cigna as Medicare supplements in Texas.
Yeah, so in Texas right now, you have Chilix, which is Cigna Health and Life Insurance Company. They have an A, an F, a G, and an N. Obviously, with MACRA, there's been some changes with who can get the F, but those are our available plans there in Texas currently.
Awesome. And then the last question that's in the screen so far is return of premium on all riders also part of the flex plan?
Yes. So I assume based on that, you're asking if the rider fee is part of the return of premium, and the answer is yes. So if they buy return of premium, we look at all premium paid, not just the base policy. We look at every penny we receive from the consumer for the policy. And again, even if we paid out a claim, let's say we advance for an angioplasty or stent at 10% of the benefit, if they paid more in premium than we paid out in claims, we pay everything in the difference to the beneficiary. So it's a really nice rider for those clients who say, what if I never, because you can look them in the eye and say, good news, Cigna's got a way for you not to lose a penny in that situation. So
awesome. Now that's the end of those questions. So we'll just tie up the rest of the presentation for us just a moment, and we'll give you some rationale as to why you would want to offer these programs through Premier. And hopefully the screen has changed back. I think it has. Yeah. So some of the things that we can do to help you is a lot of times an agent, when they go to contract, they're looking at multiple carriers in certain circumstances, and sometimes it's multiple contracts within the same carrier family. And so when we spoke today of the supplemental programs that do the ancillary products and the Medicare Supplement with Cigna, different contract than the Cigna Medicare programs, used to be Cigna Health Spring, that offers the MA and PDP programs. What the Assurance Bay program will do is allow you to build an agent profile, store all your information in there, and in many circumstances, electronically fill contracting for multiple programs. It works really well in most circumstances. Not all carriers do it. And in certain circumstances, if you're looking at a singular product and the carrier has an electronic contracting process, sometimes that would be a little bit faster. But it's a great way to store all your information and make certain that you are able to easily add programs across the board. And since you are an independent agent, much as a physician needs malpractice insurance, we need errors and admissions coverage. This program offered through our organization is a standalone program that you own. So it's different than being added to a blanket E&O policy that will cover you for just certain products with a certain upline. With this program, it gives you variable coverage as well for the variable products, which is not easy to find anymore. But it also is going to cover you regardless of whom you contract through for these insurance products. So it's a great way to make certain that your assets are protected as well. And we also help protect your license by offering continuing education credits at a discounted price through our association with WebCE. We also give you the opportunity to add to your own benefit package, specifically for the broker channel, where it's a modified guarantee issue program for disability income, where the rates are discounted, you share the commission, and it takes care of you across the board in that fashion. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded and we're addressing specific programs with Cigna, there are also other programs available for you 24/7 in our library of past calendar or past presentations that have been recorded. And they speak to different carriers and different products, but they also give you access to different marketing ideas and programs that we have in play. And they are available on our website at premiersmi.com, as it says here, and also on our YouTube channel. We do also offer you electronic online enrollment programs, very important now, particularly in an age where even if we are socially distant and we may or may not be quarantined, you may have some pushback from certain individuals that don't want to face-to-face anymore. Or we're seeing an increase in that type of business anyway before the pandemic. So we've got a couple of different programs that allow you to do electronic applications, and they include a program for ancillary programs and Medicare Supplements and the Medicare Advantage and PDP programs as well. They give you an opportunity to go in and do some different quoting, but with what we discussed today, you can actually come into this program, select a Medicare Advantage program, since a lot of the hospital indemnity programs are pointed at that program. Pick a program they have in play if they're comfortable with it and they're going to continue it, or if it's one you're speaking of, and then you can fill the gaps by adding in a hospital indemnity program, and it lays it out in a nice presentation for you. We've got a tip sheet or a tip program recorded for that, and we'll make certain that we include that in the follow-up to today's presentation. The Medicare Center program is a very robust program that can act as a simplified CRM for you as well, but it gives you a compliant program that you can use to compare Medicare Advantage or PDP programs. A great tool for you to use, and something I think the usage of this is going to skyrocket in both of these programs because of the current environment. Jim mentioned the incentive programs that Cigna offer. We have bundled all these different carrier incentives and trips in a singular place on our website, so you can access that information and make certain that you're being compensated properly for all of the sales that you do. These incentives and trips, products that qualify you for them, also help you qualify for Premier's Producer Convention. MA and PDP programs, we can't do it simply because of the mandated compensation level by the government. But our trip this year, much as what Jim said with their trip with Cigna, it had to be canceled. Our trip was as well, but it was a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. So it's really something to look forward to. We'll get you the additional information for next year moving forward and go from there. We do also help you with some different lead programs. Contact lists are available for you, custom made at a low or no cost depending upon your contracting situation. We help walk you through some community-based marketing programs that include the retail marketing plans, faith-based organization opportunities, those centers of influence that include churches, mosques, synagogues, and providers as well. We have different trainings that help you, tips to help you walk through those different sections. One of the things that we're seeing obviously is, okay, are we going to be able to do a lot of face-to-face contact in that manner? Keep in mind that particularly the last two of these that are mentioned, they can be done remotely as well. And so we have another presentation coming up at 1 o'clock that speaks to planning for AEP and the infamous line from Friends, be prepared to pivot. Well, that's part of what we can do here is set up different marketing opportunities, and then depending upon the environment, adjust to sales thereafter. Many carriers will offer some generated prospects as well in the Medicare Advantage and PDP world, and that is a symbiotic relationship between you and the carrier, so that's something we would work out in that fashion. We do offer internet leads. We work a couple of Facebook programs for both final expense in the Medicare world, and we can get you detail on that. And we do still offer direct mail support based on production. It can deeply discount the cost of these programs and make certain that this stated fundamental means of reaching out to people that, as they said in Monty Python, I'm not dead yet. Well, you still have direct mail and it's still effective in many circumstances. All that said and done, we're at the top of the hour and we're asking for your business. We'd like the opportunity to work with you and tie in the Cigna supplemental programs and make it a part of your overall personal marketing plan. That is your decision, of course, but we're at a point in time in the year where, the end of July is almost rolling up on us. It's a question of we need to put it in gear and engage it now. And as John Wayne said in the Cowboys, we're burning daylight. We don't need to procrastinate. We just need to get her done. So that said, you can reach any of us at Premier at 1-800-365-8208 or through our website at premiersmi.com. We recognize that your most valuable asset is your time, and you've spent an hour plus with us here today. We want to thank you for that. We want to make certain that you receive a return on that investment. So watch for the follow-up that we'll send as the recording updates for us here today, and watch for a call from your Premier Agent Success Manager to see how we can make Cigna Supplemental a part of your overall marketing plan. So all that said and done, we want to thank you for spending some time with us today. And until we speak again, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.